Now, on the last episode, we coming off to where Q and Baby Charles had just taken Ralph. So, that happened. And when they finished with that guy, Ralph, he just didn't know what to do with himself. He stayed up pacing all night. And Baby Charles and Q, they stayed vigilant as well. But we're going to fast forward to that next morning. The next morning, we get some New Jacks in. And, they go to fishing expedition. Hot mama, big booty ass boy. That's Bay right there. And, among these New Jacks, guess who we see? We see Ralph. Ralph hadn't got himself released from prison and made it back to that world. Now, if anybody remember, during the 90s and the early 2000s, we had a chain of store called Piggly Wiggly. And Ralph robbed a Piggly Wiggly and got himself sent back up the road. Man, but the Ralph that we see now is not the Ralph that we knew then. Instead of conforming to that sexuality, Ralph actually harbored and turned all that into anger and hostility. He was just full of rage. He was just a different person. He was the type of person you couldn't even talk to. He was just anything to set him off. You couldn't even say certain things towards him because he would take that in offense. And everybody knew what it was from, so his first week in there, nobody even actually said anything to him. But when you come back to prison, if you left there one way, you come back there, you that same way when you come back there. So, okay, we gonna fast forward to when Buttman, Port Allen, Big Bambino D, Tay-Tay, all these guys get released from the block one by one. The first to come in was Port Allen. And it's man, the whole mood of the dorm changed. I mean, you could just see the spirits drop. Like, man, here we go again. You know what I'm saying? Now, they didn't care so much that Baby Charles and Q took Ralph because they know Baby Charles and Q wasn't preying on everybody in the prison. But here come the predators back, and Port Allen was first up. Now, Port Allen come back in there bouncing, the same old humbuggy spirit, same old predator, and actually he done got a little bit bigger because he been up in the block working out the whole time he was in there. So, he immediately goes and starts searching. So evidently he was looking for something that he left in the prison that the COs didn't find when they tossed the prison, and he know they didn't find it because he wasn't charged with it. So, and no one was charged with it. So he didn't say nothing when he didn't find it. He just started looking around, just doing eye movements. I guess he just gathering up the usual suspects to see, who he think may have found this, seeing who move around and how, who living like what, in there, who got more, whatever. So at this time, he spots Ralph. He goes over and starts chopping it up with Ralph, and he like, hey man, one of these old in here found my little package or whatever. And Ralph was like, man, I found it or whatever. But I had to survive while y'all was gone, you know what I'm saying? Man, I ain't had nothing in here or whatever. So, at that time, he like, all right, everything, So Ralph like, but I want to run something else to you, though. Port Allen like, what, man, what? And as Ralph telling him, you could see him like, yeah. And in my mind, Port Allen was like, so you a bitch now. So now everybody on high alert. Everybody paying extra attention to every move these guys make. So, now, I'm feeling some kind of way because my dog Nacho had been shipped to another prison now at this time. He's been shipped because he did a crime in another state and he had to go do time in another state. So he's no longer in this prison at all. So, I'm even fully, I'm watching everything. I don't care who it is. I ain't trusting nobody. You know, I'm a young guy at this time, and you know, I got a little fear in me, but I know I would handle my business as best as I could. But at the end of the day, you are only one man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not getting in the middle of nobody else's business. Only time it come down to sides is when it's like a prison fight, a group prison fight. You know? So, okay. So I see Ralph and Port Allen spots Rev. And he and ha and whatever, but they didn't actually watch Rev come in. So they don't know what type of time Rev on at this moment, you know. So they stayed on whatever. They goes over by Rev, and you know, they start saying little stuff to Rev. And now Rev then put up a little size on him. Plus he got thick bones now. You know, his bones look heavy now. You know, so they all goes to him and think they gonna step to him and play with him. So they face to face passing words or whatever, you know. So Rev out of nowhere pulls out a weapon like, what it is, what time it is, what y'all want to do. So they bags up immediately and like, wait the crew get here, wait the Bambino and all them get back here. Boy, we gonna show you. They already told me what they did. They done jug you senseless. Boy, we about to have you up in here or whatever. And Rev like, boy, y'all ain't having nobody, boy. I'm gonna show you each and every one of y'all what time it is, boy. Everybody sleep up in here, everybody sleep in prison. So they just walking through the prison doing misdemeanor stuff. So they end up passing by Q and Baby Charles, and as they passing by, Port Allen salutes them. And I can see Ralph look at him like, man, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? I just told you what they did to me. Okay, so they going all around the prison. They even testing the new jacks to see who will go, see who got fear in them. You know what I'm saying? See who the easiest prey. So they really ain't making no moves at this time. They just really waiting on till they in full force. So nightfall. Later on that night, all you hear is scuffling going on by Ralph and Port Allen. And you hear Ralph say, man, you supposed to be my boy. And Port Allen say, I am your boy. That's why I be looking out for you, man. You know, I could have really went in your shit because you all touched my property. You know what I'm saying? I could have broke your jaw. You know what I'm saying? But I let you ran with that. And then you hear Ralph say, all right, man, all right. One time. So he ended up letting Port Allen have sex with him. Okay, so that's not even the big issue. Okay, let's move on. Next day, they end up releasing D and Tay-Tay. So when they get back to the dorm, Port Allen get to running everything to him, like, you know, letting them know what's been going on in the prison, and then he just busts out and say, yeah, and Ralph a boy now, meaning a bitch. And Ralph like, man, what you mean? And then Port Allen hit him. Bow! I mean, you a bitch. You my bitch. You a boy now. So he like, yeah, bro, all right, yeah, bro, all right. You know, he bows down to Port Allen, you know, because he don't want that. He don't want that. So, okay, let's just keep going. The next day, they release everybody back. Buttman, Big Bambino, Lil Bambino, the whole full crew is back in the dorm now. Now, this is when shit really starts to get crazy. So that first night, the whole crew back together again. And the whole first night, they just take turns breaking Ralph in. Because now they classify him like they classify Chad, Tay-Tay, Fred, and many others before him. He just classified as a boy now. So they spend that whole first night breaking him in. Okay, now that next day, everybody just forget the fact that, you know, who all's in the prison, that Rev in the prison, and, you know, so Buttman start putting together a plan for Ralph, Tay-Tay, you know, all the boys to sneak in drugs in the prison through visits. So about a week go by, and now they back functioning. They got the drugs in. They back pushing drugs through, you know, the prison. And this one guy who came in was a new jack named Terrell. He ended up spending money with them, and like many before him, he goes broke and starts the crediting. Okay, but before, you know what I'm saying, we get to that, everybody's out doing their thing, doing their own deals. And they find D knocked out in the bathroom. So, I mean, Buttman going on that buck. Oh, we gonna get some answers. We gonna get some answers to what happened to D up in here. And D don't know who knocked him out because they knocked him out from the back and took all his product. You know, and don't nobody know who knocked him out and took his product. So, okay, a couple days go by and they still haven't found out who knocked D out and took his product. So it's business as normal. It's back to their regular scheduled program. So they back through there, slanging and hustling, making deals or whatever, you know, and they even go up to Terrell. Hey, man, hey, bro, you got to come up with this money, man. Man, you steady coming trying to get shit and you ain't paying back what you owe. Hey, bro, you don't want to see what happened, man. You better ask around the prison or whatever. They let him know, you know, they give him fair warning and fair chance, you know. He shouldn't have even been involved with this, you know. But he a new jack and, you know, you can't tell most of them cats nothing, you know. So, okay, a little bit of time go by and they find Tay-Tay knocked out in the bathroom and all his product gone. So now they just not about to let this slide. Somebody got to answer for this. They need somebody to answer so they can make an example and hopefully people will stop, whoever it is, to stop doing it. They don't really care who. They just going to find somebody and make an example out of. So nightfall and they snatch Terrell out of his bed, the new jack. They snatch him out of his bed and take him to the bathroom and they all got him surrounded. It's the full crew. You know, they all got him surrounded. You know what I'm saying? And Buttman started talking to him. Hey, man, we need some answers, man. You need to talk to me, man. Talk to me. Tell me what's going on. And, hey, but we think it's you. That's just that jail play. They about to make an example out of you, whether it's you or not. So Terrell like, man, it ain't me, man. I swear, man, I ain't do nothing, man. Man, I come to y'all, was spending with y'all faithfully, man. Yeah, I owe y'all some money, but I promise y'all gonna get y'all money. He like, nah, man, cause you be crediting, you be back to back chasing this shit, man. I know you done got that far going on that shit till you done lost your place. So, Terrell like, man, I would never do nothing like that, man. Man, I come with you, man. You been giving me, man. Why would I even do something like that? So they ain't trying to really hear what this dude got to say, you know what I'm saying? So Buttman just hit him, bow, and he tell him, get him, hold him down. So they all grabbing him and then holding the man down and get to pulling off his clothes and shit like that. And then Buttman pulled out the toothpaste in the jail, put it on himself, and go up in the man. Now they in there raping this man. Everybody in there taking turns raping this man. You feel what I'm saying? And, you know, they knowing the whole time it ain't him, but they making a big old spectacle up in there raping this man. So now keep in mind, they want the whole prison to hear what's going on, you know, so nobody tried him again. So they up in there, yeah. And the man hollering to the top of his lungs, somebody help me. Don't let them keep doing this to me. Y'all don't let them do this to me. Don't let them do this to me. But I'm going to tell you, the one thing in prison, you mind your own business. Don't put yourself in a position and get involved with no life that you can't handle yourself when that life turns into that life. Understand that. Ain't nobody about to put themselves on the line for you because they can become you. Understand that. So here, help me, man. Don't let them do this to me. Don't let them. And they steady going up in this man. And they taking turns and everybody in that bathroom then went up in this man. So that following day, they walking around with Terrell, parading him around the whole prison. He got his head down. He ain't looking at nobody in the eyes. They just parading him. Yeah, yeah. And you see what happened when people try us, huh? You see what happened, what we do to people, huh? So now days and days go by. So now they didn't conform to Rel to their life. You know, he a boy now. You know what I'm saying? And he rolling with them. And he down there by him now. So it's just crazy. They back to their regular scheduled program and hustling and doing everything they supposed to do. Everybody making their individual deals. You know, when they bring all the money back, that's how they hustle. You know what I'm saying? And they live quite good up in there. So, you know, days and days go by and you see Fred come pulling up out of the bathroom, you know, bleeding and, you know what I'm saying, trying to get somewhere out the bathroom. And he hollering, man, I know who doing it. I know who doing it, man. I know who doing it. He finally makes it back down there by the crew, and he telling Bud, man, it's Rev. Rev doing this, man. Rev told me he wanted to get something from me and lower me to the bathroom, and then dude started stealing on me, man. Dude started stealing on me, man. It's that nigga, man. It's them. It's him. Let's go get him. Let's go get him. So they already know Rev got a weapon. So they ain't just about to go back at him and do whatever. So you see Rev like this sitting on his bunk. So they know Rev got an axe to grind with him. And he came back and he already had them hands. Y'all know Rev had them hands before, you know, D turned him out in that cell. You know what I'm saying? So they just know we got a plan on Rev to take Rev. We ain't gonna just go at him. We're gonna have to go at him with brute force, and we're gonna have to catch him off guard. So now they all back operating, doing their thing, but they being real careful how they move. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, you know they plotting on Rev because they can't just let him slide. Because if you let him get away with this, then everybody else gonna know the secret to get you dudes off their back. So they gotta get Rev. They gotta get him. Okay, let's just say a full 2 to 3 weeks passed by and nothing's happened. Nobody did nothing. Now, Rev then joined the program to where, you know, it's almost like a GED program or something like that, you know, where he leave out the dorm every couple hours or whatever. And he comes back in. So he doing other things in his life, you know, trying to improve himself while he in there. But he done took his mind off of these guys. So no matter what you do, you gotta sleep. You can't stay woke forever. You can stay woke for 1, maybe even 2 days. But by the 3rd day, your eyes just gonna close. But in this instance, Rev finally closed his eyes in the wee hours early morning of that next day. I swear, they had to wake Rev up around about 4 o'clock in the morning, holding him down. 15 people gathered around Rev, holding Rev down, and started tying Rev up. And they still holding him while they got him tied down. And everybody started punching him and hitting him and punching him and hitting. Then finally Port Allen pulled Rev clothes down, then pulled his clothes down. And with no lubrication, no nothing, gets on top of Rev and goes up in Rev. Rev don't make a sound. But to add injury to insult, Port Allen started jugging him with their weapon. Start jugging him, and that's when you heard Rev, just whining. And nobody helped or nothing. And I wasn't about to put my life on the line because I didn't put myself in the mix with these guys. I didn't do it. If you remember when Rev first came in that prison, not this Jose, but his first Jose, when he got turned out, he thought he was the baddest man. He had them hands. They played that confidence game with him. He got involved with these guys. So I'm not going to put my life on the line or even draw attention to myself because of a way that you put your life in. And I know it sounds horrible, but that's the way it is. And if you was in this position, you would do the same thing, or you would be in real position and you wouldn't be here to tell a story. So Rev laid there in his own blood, and to the guards came in the next morning for check and count. And it was about 5 o'clock, so he laid there for about 45 minutes to an hour before they came in and seen him and took him into the infirmary. But when the guards came back in there, somebody had to answer for what happened to Rev. So they all started gathering everybody up to write statements and to figure out what they seen. So Buttman, Bambino, Port Allen, them all thinking, using their head, they knew somebody had to be sacrificed. Because at this time, Rev wasn't even talking. Rev was unconscious in the infirmary. So they all put it to a vote. And they voted that D would have to take this charge. And D took that charge. And when the guards came back to get everybody's statement, D told the guards, ain't no need for all that. I did it. Gave him the weapon, threw the weapon, gave him the weapon, surrendered, and they took D away. And these guys are so heartless that everything went back to normal in this prison, and it got ruthless as ever. Now, I'm going to speak on something, and I'm going to speak on this clear as possible. See, in the 90s, prison wasn't how prison is today. Prison guards were so lax, and even when I did a JOS in 2012, that was the last time I did a JOS in 2012. I went to the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison, and even in the old building, once you go behind them doors, you back there inmates only. There is no guards back there like in some of these up north places, where you got two guards at a time down there in the tier. Nah, it's not like that in the South. When you go back there, them guards put you in there and they come do periodic checks. And half of them cut corners in the 90s. And the 90s, to me, had the most rowdiest prisons in the world, especially in the South. And I'm not taking away from nothing up north because I didn't really do too much time up north. It was kind of peaceful up north when I did do time. But my journeys through prisons in the South was horrible. I seen things that I could never forget ever in my life. And I'm giving y'all these stories not for gratification. I never tell nobody hey, subscribe to this channel. Because I never want nobody to go through this. I'm only speaking these stories so people can understand the type of things that happen that I seen and witnessed. But like I said, I'm only one man. And I didn't tell those guys to put they self in those positions. I want to make it back out to my family in one piece. So the next day, they really just getting back to clockwork. Back to clockwork. So they back around the prison, hustling and doing whatever. And back to this misdemeanor, behavior. They back around checking out the new jacks, and they got this one new jack named Sid. And I'm just going to say he a fat kind of guy, a chubby kind of guy. And they love those big kind of chubby guys because they be hollering about, he got a big booty and all this nonsense like this. So they walk up to Sid, like, hey man, where you from? And he got a little squeaky voice, man, I'm from Bright Side. And they like, yeah, Bright Side. Hey man, you know Tucker? And if, he be like, yeah, I know Tucker. They gonna know they have him because ain't no such thing as Tucker. They just playing mind games with him. So he like, no, I don't really deal with nobody. I stay to myself or whatever. And they just run, all right, yeah, man, I like how you carry yourself and all that, Trying to win him over, to get him to talking. So that they do. They get him to talking. So they come at this dude, look, man, let me know if anybody start fucking with you in this prison, man. You can roll with us, man. You know what I'm saying? You can be down with us or whatever. And he looked like the kind of little dude, you know what I'm saying, that never really had no friends or nothing like that. And he would like to belong to something. So he get to falling for the bullshit. He a new jack, and even though he done seen what went on, he think his best chances is with this group. So he buys into the bullshit. So more and more, you see him talking to either Buttman or Port Allen. And they trying to really, really get him to open up and trust him a little bit more. So just say a week passed by, and you just see him walking with Port Allen and them while they making plays through the prison and whatever. They giving him little different stuff like that, and he taking it. And he don't think nothing wrong with this. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying in my head, man, this young man has no idea what he, and he's about 19 or 20 years old. First time out the gate. Just like me, but he ain't it don't look like he did no kiddie time or none of that. He's just fresh out the gate. So one night, you just see him over there sitting on Port Allen bed. Just him and Port Allen. And then you see Tay-Tay walk up. Then you see Ralph walk up. Then you see Buttman walk up, and Buttman just leans on the top rack, you know what I'm saying? Just looking down at him. And be like, man, what kind of stuff you like to do, man? You know, they just talking to him about general stuff, and he just flapping his mouth at this time because he feels totally comfortable with these dudes. And, you know, they shaking their head, but you could look, they conniving and they up to no good. Now they back up to the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It's like nothing ever happened in this prison. That's how ignorant it is. It don't make any sense. So, you know, they started juicing him up and talking to him and this, hey man, you want to eat something? He a big dude. Man, what you got? What you got? You know, he think this is a goddamn sleepover. So they give him a couple things, and you know they wait good until he ate it and just relaxing. They still talking to him, and all of a sudden you see Buttman just sticking, bow, and then they just all grab on him and turn him over. He's like, man, what y'all doing, man? What y'all doing? Y'all stop! What y'all doing? What y'all doing? So they pull his clothes down. So Buttman spitting all on his hand. Spitting on his hand and say, ooh, smacking him on his booty, ooh. So he just going on, why y'all doing this? Why y'all doing this to me? Why y'all doing this to me? And I mean, they just getting off on it. They like, ooh, I mean, this juicy big old fat thing he got here. This big old juicy. Now, keep in mind, in this prison, all they practice is rape in this prison. And they get off on taking something that nobody wants to give them. So all you hear is Big Bambino say, man, I ain't get off on nothing in a minute, man. Let me get some of that big juicy boy right there. So he gets on top of him and goes up in him. He like, man, I thought y'all was my homies. I thought y'all was my homies. And this is called the homie gang. They befriend you just to take you. And this here is something that is widely practiced in this prison. Not just in this dorm, but in this same prison, but in other dorms. This is widely practiced. In the 90s, so many guys were turned out. And the reason why I tell you this particular story is because when we come back, I'm going to show you why they formed the New Jack Crew and what the New Jack Crew is. Because all this is leading up to something. And all this can be proven. So, like I said, I was going to take you from the beginning of my jokes all the way through the journey of my jokes. But when we come back, remember the New Jack Crew.